It's Friday, and you know what that means. It's time for another Double Feature Friday, and this week I'm talking about two films by one of my favorite directors, Lucio Fulci, and those films are Zombie 2 and Zombie 3. So let's get right into it. Zombie 2, it's also known as Zombie or Island of the Living Dead. As with most Italian films, there are many different titles for this film, but I think it's most commonly known, or I know it as Zombie. But I guess it was released as Zombie 2 because it was written as a spiritual successor slash unauthorized sequel to George A. Romero's film Dawn of the Dead, which was released in Italy under the title Zombie. Fulci saw Dawn of the Dead and enjoyed it so much he wanted to make a sequel. This film stars Tisa Farrow, who is Mia Farrow's sister. I really liked her as the lead. I thought she was really good in this film. Well, first off, let's talk about this movie. It is so good. If you haven't seen it, I totally recommend going out, finding it, and watching it. I think this one is easier to find. This one actually is playing on Shudder. That's where I watched it. So on Shudder in Canada, you can find Zombie or Zombie 2 and you can watch it, and it's wonderful. I think your mind will be blown. I think this is a way more creative zombie movie than most that you would see. The origin story is not a mere typical virus being released into the wild and, you know, corpses coming back to life. This is a voodoo-inspired zombie tale, which I find is pretty interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen that before in a zombie film. I really like the premise. The score of this movie is so good. It's scored by Fabio Frizzi. I think I'm saying that right, but maybe not. I thought the score in this movie was so good and really interesting. The zombies look great. Considering this movie came out in 1979, I thought the practical effects were so good. They look great. There's a underwater scene where a zombie fights a shark, which also is incredible. Really, I don't know what else to say about this movie other than if you haven't seen it, you should really watch it. And if you have seen it, I mean, you probably know what I mean. After I watched it, I was just in shock about how good this movie is. It's one of the best zombie movies I think I've ever seen. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't have much to say about these films. Not because they're not really good. They're just really, I think, kind of straightforward zombie movies. So unlike maybe last week when I talked about Natural Born Killers, I think there's more complexities. You know, there's character dynamics, there's a character arc. This film is not so much like that. Tisa Farrow her character is looking for her father who went missing. So that's kind of what kickstarts this whole movie. They find his abandoned boat near New York City, and then there is a zombie on board. So both her and this reporter from a local newspaper, they're trying to figure out what happened on this boat. She wants to find out what happened to her father, obviously, and they end up on this island looking for him, and they come across this doctor who said, yeah, look, your dad got this sickness and he died and I had to shoot him in the head when he was wrapped in burlap, and it was pretty sad. The island is overtaken by zombies, and there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of killing zombies, there's more brutal deaths, and there's more gore in this movie than I kind of expected, even though it's advertised as being very gory. But still, I sort of feel like for the time, it feels very gruesome. People getting the tops of their heads cut off. There's a lot of Molotov cocktails being thrown. It's great. If that's your thing, check this movie out. It's totally great. I give it a 5 out of 5. Like I've said in my past videos, Fulci is always fun. You can't go wrong with a Fulci film if you want to be entertained. Even the worst ones, there's still always something good about them. This definitely isn't one of the worst. I would say this is in the Fulci in fine form era of his filmmaking. Zombie 2 is such a success at the box office. It did even better than Romero's Dawn of the Dead. Son Fulci right away started on Zombie 3. Zombie 3 was filmed in the Philippines. It is a sequel in name only. There's no carryover of any of the original story or cast or anything like that. It's more of a pandemic type film where there's a group of scientists in the Philippines working with the military on a virus, and it gets released into the public. The virus is called Death 1, which is an amazing name for a virus that's going to kill everybody, because it can be spelt either in the numerical way or it could be spelt WON, Death 1, humans lost, which is kind of how the film goes. I found this one, when I was watching it, I actually watched this one first and I watched Zombie 2 second. I thought Zombie 3 was great. They're two totally different films, and I would say Zombie 2 is a lot better. Fulci, I guess, also got sick while filming this and had to leave partway through, so that's why there's two directors in the credit. Bruno Mattei finished directing this film. Fulci says that he didn't leave due to illness. It was due to some disputes with the production or producers, and they couldn't resolve whatever issues they were having, so he didn't want to finish directing the film. I still think this is a really fun film, especially if you like zombie films. Both of these deserve a watch for sure. Zombie 3 is a bit more, it's still like this kind of self-contained, because you're in this one area, you're only really seeing the military and the scientists. And then you do spend time with this group of civilians who also enter into the contaminated zone for a vacation. No one really knows that this virus has been released and there are zombies everywhere. Undead are coming to get them. They are very different in tone. Zombie 3, also, I will say this, I watched the dub version and it's some of the worst dubbing in any Italian film I've seen. There are worse ones, I don't remember specifically, but this is not great, but I still found the film was very enjoyable to watch. So I think that's a pretty good endorsement for this movie. It's still a lot of fun. Zombie 3 is probably like a 3.5 or 4. I mean, if it's a 3.5, it's gonna be a heavy 3.5, because I still really liked it and I think it's deserving of a fairly high rating, but there are obviously some flaws with it. Whereas I don't know if I was just in a really good mood when I watched Zombie 2, or if my expectations maybe were kind of set a little bit lower because of Zombie 3. Zombie 2 kind of just like blew my mind this week, so that's always fun. But I did also watch Pig with Nick Cage, and I would say that was a great film as well. It was really heartbreaking. And Val, the documentary about Val Kilmer's life and career, that was a wonderful film. If you want to check out some newer ones, because I feel like most people don't like watching older movies, although if you're watching this video, I kind of suspect that you are into older movies. But if you're not, or if you like all movies, then those are two that are worth checking out that are kind of just recently released. And yeah, I think they're both on streaming now. Yeah, definitely worth checking out, along with Zombie 2 and Zombie 3. I think that's it for me for this week. Thanks so much for watching this video. Bye for now.